Hello and welcome to the first TMC workout of 2024. I am incredibly happy to see you guys. As you can see, we have a brand new start time and we have a whole lot of people on, so I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to start with our first reader being Yo, otherwise known as Alex. Whenever you're ready, Yo, go for it.
Oh, thank you very much. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Michael.
Oh, wow. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard when the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz. We're going to then toss it over to Cassidy.
All right. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. And let's take it to who hasn't gone.
There, I put the list in the chat.
There it is. Let's go to James.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Andrew.
The big brown bearded biker backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bike as the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Um, Tiger.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Frosty Frosty.
Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike as the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Avalon.
Sorry. Yeah. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz. Where's the list? Eddie.
We can't hear you, Eddie. Still nothing. Oh, do we have technical issues?
Hello? Hello?
Hey, there we go. Now we can hear you.
Oh, that's weird. All right,
Welcome back
let
to
me
the
start
Land
over.
Go for it.
The big brown bearded bikers biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right, you get to choose who goes next from the list.
Brett.
All right.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz. I'm gonna go with Caitlin.
I was so kind. I cleared my throat before I turned my mic on. So, yay, good for me. Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz. Sonic.
There we go. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken glass brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken mirrors broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz. I'm going to go.
Well, Justin is up.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Just double checking to see if my mic was plugged in. Michael knows I have issues.
You're coming through great.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right. Loren, welcome. Did you want to read with us tonight? Or were you just listening in?
No, thanks. Thanks.
Just listening in?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Alrighty. Why did I mute again? Again, just to reiterate, if you are just listening in, this is for anybody, and I'm also putting this on there because now it's being recorded. If you are just listening in, we'd love to have you over on our Twitch channel where you can interact with us via text from there. It helps keep the numbers a little bit in control. So, not that we don't want you around, but yeah, we do want to try to keep things a little bit controlled wherever possible. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move along for now. And let's begin the script breakdown portion of this entire thing. I would highly suggest you open up something to take some notes for yourself. So let's get into it. First questions first. What kind of microphone technique should we be using for this? Voiceover or voice under?
Normally for car stuff, we often say voice under, but for this particular one, I want to say voiceover.
Okay.
I would
Same.
agree.
I had the exact same thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll list
Funny,
my
all three
reasoning.
of us thought the same.
It kind of, I feel like it kind of depends on what medium it's in. Like if it's on TV, like there's probably going to be some, I don't know if like the visual would match the silliness of the script, right? Like if it'd be kind of cartoonish, and like silly, or if it would be like, no, like this is a serious thing, right? Like motorcyclists, and blind spots are a big thing. So like you could be a voice under as they're showcasing like someone being like, oh, I can't move to the next lane because there's a biker over here or something. I don't. So it could be Depends on the medium. Could be
I
either
don't
or.
think this is in a visual medium.
I think it's a radio
since the
spot.
alliteration is the point, it's a strictly audio thing. I mean,
Sure.
that's purely vibes, but
Purely vibes like that.
I would say that even if this is televised and it does have an accompaniment, say, you see the biker coming up and then it cuts to inside the Mercedes-Benz, we see the biker in the rear view. We are still not just narrating, but narrating with that gimmick of the alliteration that is meant to pull the audience's attention to something that is difficult to say. And I think particularly we get a clue in that last line, when the road gets hard to read. That is making a joke about the previous segment being hard to read. And so I think our words are supposed to be up front in this.
No, fair enough, for sure. Good little play on words at the end.
Any other thoughts? Any more agrees, disagrees, anything like that? Okay. Yeah, I actually think that this is the best technique that we can use for something like this is going to be voice under, personally, because you're narrating a series of events. This is going to be happening in somebody's mind. They're playing through this as they've experienced it. So due to the fact that you are narrating this series of events, which usually again takes place in somebody's head, voice under is going to be your more optimal technique for this. But since we don't have more information on this spot, because again, normally you're going to know how a spot's going to be used, whether that be for visual media or not, I'm going to say go with something that makes the most sense to you for your delivery specifically. This can work either way. I'm not saying that it's a both script, because you can't have both voiceover and voice under. You're either too far away from the microphone while whispering or too close to it while speaking aloud. It's not going to work. So I would say go for this in whatever one of the two methods you want to, specifically because we don't know how it's going to be used. Voice sideways, a final offer. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, really helps. If you can explain specifically how to do that, I will allow it. But yeah, my personal interpretation of this is somebody's internal monologue, so voice under makes the most sense. So, that being said, let's talk about the narrator. Who are you in this script?
The driver.
Okay, you are the driver.
Specifically says, I blinked and braked.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a
Which
driver
I am
who had
Groot.
a difficult time with some biker that was not looking, was in my blind spot. Not necessarily the biker's fault, though they apparently have broken brakes. That would,
And a panic attack.
yeah. Yeah, so this is a driver who encountered that rough situation and then was saved by the car.
Would you say that like they're narrating the current situation, or are they like recalling this harrowing tale of almost colliding with a biker or something? What do
I'd
you
say
guys
this
think?
is a recent memory. Like it
Recent
almost
memory,
just
Something that's
happened.
already happened, not
It's
currently
written
like.
in past tense.
yeah.
But like I feel
My-
like in narration you could still, even if it's as it's happening, like that could still apply. I understand what you're saying, but like
In my cold read, I was definitely trying to emote it as though it was currently happening. Oh no, this is terrifying, and then it's resolved. But
I guess
I have
even
a
in
hard
an
time
emotion,
separating from the past tense writing.
Okay. Eddie, what were we going to say?
I guess even in storytelling, the emotions can also be exaggerated as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But, so, yes, you are the driver of this, but let's let's get into the weeds a little bit. So we know that this person is driving a Mercedes Benz because that is that's the brand. That's who we're reading for. Um, why did they get this Mercedes Benz?
Did you say why did they get this Mercedes Benz?
Yes. Why did
Because
they
they
get
have
the
too
Mercedes
much
Benz?
money and they need
Because they got the
The clout.
active blind
Yeah, the
spot
clout. They
assist.
want
That Benz clout,
Because
you know.
they
because
just like
they
that
thought it
tri
would keep
spoke on
them
the front.
safe. They thought
Okay.
it would keep them safe because of the
Okay.
active brake assist.
Okay, so they're safety conscious, right? Because that's the whole point of this script. The whole point of the script is avoiding a bad situation. So I think that one of the best ways to look at it is yes, the person who bought this vehicle did so because they're safety conscious. And this situation right here is justifying that purchase.
I wrote down something, and I mean, these are very vague, like broad, descriptors, but I
Okay.
was trying to decide if it was someone who perhaps was on the road a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't know a lot about Mercedes Benz personally, so I don't know about like
Mhm.
gas mileage and, all that kind of good stuff. But, maybe it's someone who's on the road a lot, travels a lot, or lives in a congested area where, blind spot assist would be very helpful. Like, if you're on the road a lot, long haul traveler, maybe you get a little road hypnosis and you don't really notice whenever you're kind of going in and out of lanes. And then if you're in a congested area, that's obvious. There's things zipping by, everywhere. But geographically, I was kind of trying to place who it might be and narrow it down that way. But
Okay.
I wasn't sure who to
Yeah.
pinpoint exactly.
You could do that. Again, I think whatever situation makes the most sense for having this driver be as safety conscious as they are, that's up to you. That's a really individual choice. But this person definitely needs to be really safety conscious. So yes, it could be a driver. It could also be somebody who was developing new safety features for the car. So they created active blind spot assist when they almost hit this biker. That could be another person, like somebody who actually developed the technology that you're talking about right now. You could be somebody who works specifically for Mercedes Benz and wants to incorporate as many safety features as possible because you really care about people's road safety. Like that's a hugely important thing for you. You don't want anybody to be in any major accidents or hurt in any way in your vehicles. So because of this experience, now you realized, wait a minute, we need blind spot assist. So there's a variety of different angles that you can take this from, but choose somebody who is really really invested in safety in the safety of this vehicle, whether you're a driver, whether you're a salesperson, whether you work for the company. It doesn't necessarily matter the kind of character you are, but safety consciousness is a huge aspect of who that character is. So you could be maybe you're a parent in this. Maybe you have a sibling that you want to keep safe, that you're thinking about getting them a gift, right? I'm shotgunning all kinds of ideas at you just to kind of give you something to get the wheels turning a little bit, hopefully. But definitely note down specifically who you are. We already talked about why you're saying what you're saying. Again, it's very focused on safety, but like the minutia of why you're saying what you're saying, the exact reason for why safety is important to you, that should be something that you come up with. That's part of your backstory for this particular character. Who are you talking to? Who is this commercial specifically for?
Other safety conscious people.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like active blind spot assist would be universally useful for many different folks in many different stages of life. Like whether that's a teenager with the Mercedes, whether that's a teenager who like just sucks, and definitely needs a little bit of extra help there, an elderly person who may be a little bit more like, you know, scared to be on the road with all these hoodlums and everything, or a parent, or yeah, I feel like it's very a universal tool.
Okay, so basically, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, you are speaking to a copy of your character, somebody who's really conscious about safety for a variety of different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And of course, we're talking to adults on this one because I don't know many teenagers who are going to go out and buy a Mercedes Benz.
Well, someone buys it for them. I'm not
Well,
saying they're
and
wrong.
True, true. But there's the thing: if somebody buys it
You
for
need
them,
to
it's likely
advertise
not
to
another
the person
teen,
who's purchasing.
right?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, look,
Mom, I heard about this really safe car. You gotta go buy it.
yeah.
It's for my
It's super
birthday,
safe.
Mom.
Yeah. Don't you love me, Mom? Get me a Mercedes.
Who cares how many horses it has? Just safety, Mom.
Mercedes-Benz daily driver. Yep. No, I get that feeling.
It's so much better than a horse. It's got all this horsepower and whatnot. X amount of horses in it.
And
That's
horses
how that
is
works,
turbo
right?
engine.
That's definitely the two choices nowadays: a horse or a Mercedes. Nothing in between.
Yes, all the horses. It's either horse or Mercedes. um, okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and break down some of what's going on. So, if you could, if you could condense the story of this script into a single sentence, including the product name, how would you do it? What would your summary of this whole script be?
Mercedes-Benz will help you avoid difficult or dangerous situations like this.
Okay, good. Let's change Mercedes-Benz to active blind spot assist
Okay.
because that's really the product.
Active
But
blind spot assist will help you avoid dangerous situations like this.
yes, hmm that's a good one. Anybody else?
I
Yeah,
got
I
one.
would say active blind spot assist protects you and those around you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good one.
snaps.
I was gonna say, and those around you is gonna be a big selling point, especially with this script for bikers.
Yep.
You know, for the people who overlap bikes and Mercedes Benz.
Although, so having spoken with bikers about stuff like this before, apparently the car that, and this is just from my limited experience, but apparently the car that most bikers fear the most on the road is the Prius.
Oh, what
Because
That
it's
might be
silent.
juxtaposition.
that might be more of a driver thing.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. I don't know any of the exact details. I'm not a biker myself. This is just secondhand information, but from a
That's
guy
right,
who
you're
rode.
Carmichael.
You know, yeah, when
I'm no longer
Carmichael rode to Sturgis and hung out with all his biker
It's
buddies, they
Carmichael.
all had a TED talk about Priuses.
Sorry, Sonic. Did you have a sentence that you wanted to say, or were you just unmuted?
I think I did. I kind of forgot it actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
way to
actually
go, Clark.
curious. I'm
Mhm.
curious about something. Has
Yeah.
anyone found a reason that the bike's broken brakes actually matter in this context, or is it just for the alliteration?
Actually, I remember on a podcast someone had a similar situation where their bikes were broken and they were going downhill and they did not stop and they were a kid and they went flying off their bike because they tried to like turn 45 degrees immediately and that doesn't just turn. So yeah, broken bikes are a big deal.
I
Okay,
wonder.
but
I
He
wonder
went
if
flying.
in the context. I wonder if in the context of the script, it's more. Um, there are things that will happen that are out of your control, and this will help you get control.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah,
control what you can. And, yeah, exactly.
It's also
because it's
easier to
not just about
stay.
you, it's about
therapist.
the other people around you.
All right.
Or
So is the big brown bearded biker's bike okay?
It was fine. Nobody bumped
Yeah,
into
I
the
mean, it's
big
Fine.
brown
still
bearded
no one
broken.
bumped
bike.
into it.
Yeah.
Because of the
Sorry.
Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, exactly.
The active
Because of
blind spot
Benz.
assist.
The
That is the
active blind
product.
spot assist. It's also
Okay.
easier to stay out of blind spots if your brakes work.
It's true, but I think yeah. Going back to your question, Alex, it's about the fact that there's only so much you can actually control yourself. There things outside of your control are clearly outside of your control, but active blind spot assist can help avoid those things too.
Okay.
Alex's question had me kind of think about what the setting might actually be,
Oh,
whether
okay.
it be an intersection or also on a highway.
Well, which one would make the most sense to you?
I'd say for less stakes, it would be at an intersection.
hmm
Then no one would be in danger. I don't really see a big brown bearded biker's bike in a highway and not be hurt by avoiding the active blind spot assist. So thinking of it as the active blind spot assist being protective for all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, that could work. And that's a good thing that you bring up a setting, because that was going to be the next question. Where does this actually take place? Again, it's always important to give yourself as much of a frame of reference in this as possible. So, where is this happening? Where would you guys see something like this taking place? We've got Eddie over here with an intersection, but where else are you seeing this?
Like I was, oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Oh, like I was saying, like it could be a long haul road trip, or in a congested area where there's high traffic in downtown or something. But in my head, by default, I actually saw it on the highway, because where I grew up, it was long stretches of nothing, and so to get to anywhere, you're on the highway. And
Right.
especially like a biker, it's the classic scene of driving in a wasteland with a big bearded biker kind of thing. And I think the active blind spot assist would still be helpful there, because again, this is very very narrowed in. But road hypnosis, or kind of just being zoned out and driving, and changing lanes or something and not really checking, like you could definitely bump someone at high speeds, and then that's even harder to control, and then ugh.
I'm thinking like a roundabout would be an easy congested area where you could have that be a problem.
Okay.
That
But
active blind
how
spot would be going
easy
crazy.
how easy is it to break brakes? Because if you get on a bike and try to ride it knowing your brakes are broken,
I think I figured it out. The bike, okay, it's not just that the bike is in the blind spot. It's that the driver needs to brake to prevent a collision. Not the driver needs to not switch lanes or, avoid turning. The driver needs to brake, which means the bike isn't moving parallel to our main character. It is moving at some angle up to even perpendicular. Which means I think the intersection situation is actually really likely. That's the broken brakes. They accidentally go through a red light or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good situation to use too.
With blind spot being a focus, I was gonna say it's more like merging onto a highway or something,
Sure.
where it's not perpendicular like at an intersection, but it's like coming alongside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Both an intersection and the character of the big brown bearded biker with a broken bike, I would figure them to be more brazen, like peeking over the side of the Mercedes, really close by to begin with, and the active blind spot being there.
Pass the blame to the biker. Do it.
I'm doing it. He has a broken bike.
can we add the word brazen to
Irresponsible.
the copy as well?
There you go.
The
Yeah, that's
brazen big
perfect.
brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. I
That's
mean,
a bold
we could.
choice.
That's
It's a
yeah,
bold
With-
choice.
Could go
Yeah.
in there too.
And then put braids too, because if they have some like Willie Nelson
He does
type
have
braids
braids.
or
He has to
something,
have
yeah.
braids.
So
Add as many
the
bees as
brazen
possible.
big brown braided bearded biker's bike.
Really paint a picture.
Yeah. We'll get super specific on this one.
What brand of glasses start with B?
Oh my god.
All I
No,
can think of
Ray-Bans
is
are
Ray
fine.
Bans, but
You can just say
Vans.
bands.
Shorten it to bands,
Bands.
There's
With a
bands.
giant headband.
Yeah, from the B movie.
He's on his way to a Behemoth
Barry B.
concert.
Benson.
Like,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Carrying around his branded Yu-Gi-Oh deck, which actually is branded cards, by the way. That's an actual
What?
thing.
We just took such a turn here.
with his
no
branded
breaks.
He's
Boggle
carrying
board
on-
game in his
And buffalo
backpack.
jacket.
Yu-Gi-Oh to a Behemoth concert?
Heading
is
to a
what it look-
Behemoth concert.
Yeah, we've
By the
No one
way,
needs-
this
no
is
one
all.
needs to bring Yu-Gi-Oh to a Behemoth concert.
Yeah,
no one
This
needs
is
to.
all Michael's fault. This is all
course it
Michael's
is.
fault because he gave us an alliteration script.
And that's why I brought it to challenge you at the beginning of 2024.
Oh, you
Now,
brought it?
Here is I brought the script. I brought it in here.
I know you brought it like he brought his backpack with his
You
branded
brazenly
Boggle
brought
board
it.
game.
Anyway, can we get back to the script, please? 'Cause this is a bad- why? Okay. Let's break down the story because this shouldn't be just a collection of words that begin with B. There's something very specific being said here. So, if we were going to say bracket off the main points and the things that need to be heard throughout this script, what should that be? Where should we break up the ideas to make sure that not only are we, not only is this a fun alliteration, but it's actually a story being told? Where are those breaks?
I think
breaks.
maybe right after biker and before biked.
Okay, yeah. So the big brown bearded biker is a noun, right? That's all that like it's
You're
it's
describing
one
who
thing.
he is and then what
Yep.
he is doing or what
Yep.
happened to him.
Biked with broken brakes. Yes. 100%.
Broke into my blind spot. I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike.
Yeah, as the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes, that's one thing.
Yep. Broke into my
Then,
blind spot.
yep, broke into my blind spot. That's another action. I blinked and braked. Third act, that's the third sort of major idea in that. No, actually, do pick alliteration for the chaos reads, Andrew. You're going to get plenty of it. If you couldn't tell, you'll bring out people's creativity to add to it as much as possible. So I blinked and braked. Not should be brought up in that last half of that second sentence there. Not bumping into, again, one more idea, the big brown bearded biker's bike. Final idea. And don't treat, for the tagline at the very end, do not treat that last sentence as though it had a comma. That happened a lot. Not necessarily directly critiquing that. I shouldn't, because those were cold reads. But that's an idea. Again, you're summarizing what happened before. Most people get really lost in alliteration. And this is going to be super important for you as the actor delivering this script to make it as easy to follow for your listener as possible. So again, the whole idea is that this is not easy. This is kind of difficult. Well, when the road gets hard to read. That's the reference to the joke. The joke was the whole thing was done in alliteration. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz. Carry your delivery all the way through to the end. Don't let your emotional space die right at the end there. Active Blind Spot Assist. So that is the product by Mercedes-Benz. That is the client. Make sure that those are said clearly. You want to get paid, right? Make sure that your client feels you're doing work for them. That being said, does anybody have any questions, comments, anything about the script so far?
I have a kind of a question, I guess, for everybody. Because of the Dr. Seussian nature of the alliteration up there, right? Like
I was thinking that too.
automatically in my head, like I'm kind of bouncing around and I'm going the Dr. Seuss route, right? Like there's a little bit of silliness to it. Obviously, safety is a very important topic and it can be serious, but did any of y'all kind of do the either or, like it could be a very serious thing, like serious tone, right? Because again, safety is very important. This is obviously not a good situation. Like it's, anxiety inducing, for the person who's retelling it. But also the script is a little silly, and at the end, like there again, it even kind of like is like a haha, like a joke, like when the road gets hard to read, there's that play there. Would y'all say that there's like no chance it could be a touch silly, or would you go completely serious? What do you think?
I would say it for sure can go either way. And it's just going to be like what the casting director ends up liking.
I
The whole
kind
reason
of feel like it could go both in a way. Like you do like I know that's probably like one or the other, but I could very easily see like once you stop talking about the big brown bearded biker's bike, then you go into the when the road gets hard to read, like that's when you change. Like, all right, it's not we had our fun, we had our rhyme and we explained what happened, but now it's like, look, this is what this Mercedes-Benz was able to do and how it was able to prevent a situation. I know this is more for adults, so probably doing Dr. Seuss and then going the more serious tone, it probably isn't the most appropriate way of doing it. But since you're bringing that up, I figured I'd throw my hat into the ring there and mention that.
Well, a potential reading could be someone like visualizing every single detail of something that was a huge impact on them. So it's not so much that it's silly, it's that they're like picking out every little thing they can remember as they're telling this story of this scary incident on the road.
Like funny stress gossip to a friend.
I think
Just
where
because
my
we're
mind
describing
went.
the biker, yeah, it doesn't mean it can't be serious. Like,
I think where my mind went was kind of like almost a Geico-esque tone, right? Like,
Mhm.
like sometimes that thing's kind of delivered in, I don't want to say monotone, but there's it's definitely not like this silly thing's happening. It's, the voiceover under is, kind of a straight to the point thing, but well, that's a visual medium as well, but anyway. I didn't
you
want to
could
seem like a
definitely
monster or tasteless by asking that question,
No,
and
it's
go
not.
into
It's
a
not.
casting director and like offending someone because it's like this is a real thing that happened to me.
Well,
Like,
well,
oh,
there's some
Nothing
logic
This
that you
happened
can
to
apply
me
to this.
personally.
It's a good question to ask, and I think there's some logic that you can apply to this. We also had a response in Twitch that says it's a hybrid delivery. I don't necessarily agree with that. You see, I think the alliteration is expanded here and used as a medium to show that the situation was difficult to read. In the Mercedes Benz, it was hard to tell what was going on. So the alliteration shows that. I think this is supposed to be a serious delivery about this situation because alliteration here is only a tool, it's not the main point of it. Because think about how that would sound if you went from like a slightly more Geico-esque, maybe a little bit on the silly side read, and then immediately switch over to a more serious read. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
it clashes way too much.
I think it needs to be either one or the other for the whole way through, but I think
Right.
that it can be done in the Seussian way.
I think the trick is to just commit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
one or the
stick
other.
The
to
one or
what
the
you
other.
decide.
Yeah, ultimately, that's the most important thing. Commit to one. And again, Caitlin, thank you for asking that question. But I personally really feel that this should be taken very seriously. This should be a serious delivery, specifically because, I mean, have any of you guys almost sideswiped somebody in your blind spot, let
Yeah.
alone somebody on a
Definitely.
motorcycle?
I don't drive.
Okay, well, I mean, it's harrowing. Okay,
Frequently, I'm a menace.
I don't care. I run people off the road.
This is for you.
They're in my way.
Yeah.
That's my blind spot, okay? It's their choice to be in it.
Excuse me, you're in my blind spot?
Oh my
Whatever happens to you, not my problem. No, but
It's
But,
look, everyone has to be aware of the road, okay? And
this is
everyone
why
has
Michael doesn't
their
drive.
blind spot. If you get hit in my blind spot, that's your fault because you weren't paying attention.
well, I'm going to advocate taking this as more seriously, but whatever direction you want to go with, stick with it and deliver it that way. Because ultimately, the best thing that you can give to somebody who's casting is a solid choice, not some slavish reinterpretation of the directions that are there. It's really, whenever you see direction on a script, that's just ultimately a taste of the end goal that you're trying to go for. That is the casting director's attempt at giving actors a point of reference to head towards. How you get there is up to you, and that's part of what makes your brand your brand. How you communicate emotions, how you experience things, how you make people feel while you are communicating. That's part of your brand, and ultimately, that's what you should bring with every audition you do. So, are there any other questions or comments or anything like that, about the script at all? Okay, then let's go ahead and move on to the directed reads. Let me go ahead and go back up, grab that list again, which I probably should have been more responsible in grabbing earlier, but we won't tell anyone that. And we are going to start with Yo.
Yo.
Whenever you're ready, Yo, let's hear it.
The big brown-bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown-bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown-bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right, opening it up. What did y'all think of that one?
The first thing that popped up in my brain was at the end, I felt like the product itself, I felt like that lost a little oomph. I felt like I feel like maybe there needed to be a little bit more intentional emotionality behind that. Like, we went the serious route and everything about that. I feel like that needed a little extra something. It almost fell off. Like, not an afterthought exactly, but it was kind of broaching that a little bit. So maybe bring that up a little bit, punch that a little bit harder to really drive that home after all this crazy alliteration.
Okay, I can do that.
I think it was too broken up.
Okay.
I think you can still go serious and keep that kind of even pace to it.
Okay.
Alrighty then. Whenever you're ready, go for it.
The big brown-bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown-bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown-bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, you definitely hit my note. So that was good. It stood out a lot more to me and was much more impressionable that time around.
All right.
One of the only like little nitpicky things I'll say is I think one of the browns was browned or something.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, your second half, you had a little stumble with the alliteration.
Though the highlight of that one, I did like when you said when the road gets hard to read. That was a really good take.
Okay, good. Thanks.
You got a good jorb from Twitch as well, so you're pressing people over there too.
I don't know if this counts as self-directing, so if this breaks a rule,
Well,
just call me
self-critiquing
out.
is the rule.
I don't like. Maybe it's just my interpretation, but I don't like doing this so serious.
Okay. Okay.
I want to
Then-
give it a quick try with just toning, like taking a little bit of a different approach with it.
Then go for it.
All right. The big brown-bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown-bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown-bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Thoughts on that one?
I liked that delivery a lot
Me too.
because again it in my head it was there's a little bit more lightness to it, Dr. Seussian-esque, but it grabbed my attention more. Now obviously depending on where this was, like there could be dramatic music underneath or something, sound effects, what theater of the mind. But I liked that one. It came out bigger. It came out more I don't know, not compelling, attention getting, it caught my attention.
Yeah, compelling.
I don't know if it's the best way to go though. With Mercedes being such a luxury brand, I don't know if something that cavalier is what would match their overall thing.
So,
That's
Alex,
fair.
Alex, in terms of in terms of your emotional state during the two reads, you felt more comfortable with the second one, right?
Oh, my third take, so second
Or sorry, the
interpretation,
second
I was
style.
had a lot
Second
more
style.
fun with. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And was that really the main thing? It was just the fun?
It was getting myself to feel more comfortable with the take and relating more to the narrator.
Okay, so
The
your
first
narrator's not taking this seriously.
well, my second interpretation narrator is retelling the event, and for me, retelling a stressful event where nothing bad actually happened. That's going to be a high energy and slightly more lighthearted take than the first interpretation, which was something bad happened. Here's how it went.
Like a funny haha, imagine if I didn't have this.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Come on, Alex. You got a rule named after you, please.
Hey, it's not named after me for no reason, okay?
Okay.
I like that take where I understood where the flow was going. It can be fleshed out more, definitely.
All right.
Okay. Well, then.
I think I have one question for you. How did you feel going from the story, which had more levity to it, to the tagline and what the purpose of the ad is?
Yeah, when I got to the end of it, I was immediately thinking, how do I put the emotive backing that Caitlin had requested into the last line, the product line. Getting to the when the road gets hard to read felt completely comfortable. Going from the narration into that little tagline felt totally fine to me. I don't know if it came out as fine as it felt, but I had no bad feelings about that. I only felt uncomfortable delivering the very last line, the active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz, and that's because I felt like I had brought everything up enough that I wasn't sure where to take it with that last line, and I just made a immediate decision there. Flash
You can
decision.
actually hear that when you're doing it. Like I was thinking like that sounded a little off.
Yeah.
The tagline for the product. So maybe
Okay,
just
fair
run
enough.
at it again.
You might be able to find a way to bridge the gap. But yeah, that's why I brought the question up.
Sure.
All right, let's see if you can. Whenever you're ready.
Let's see how that goes. Okay. The big brown bearded biker with hold on. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. I think that blended the fun that you were really looking for with your previous reads with a more serious tone. And I think
Okay.
that fits a lot better with this particular client.
Excellent. I'm glad.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
I agree. You solved my problem of it sounding like two separate things going on.
Mine
It-
too.
honestly, like, and this is like the key, right? In doing these things is remembering who the client is. And so I was going off, in that silly direction, but Avalon quickly brought that back to my attention that this is a somewhat serious luxury, brand of cars. So good to help me keep grounded.
Here's a fun little tip. In order to remind you of the kind of feel that most of the time these companies have, go to their website, check out their branding. Just look them up.
Sleek, chic, luxurious,
Yeah, exactly.
grays,
Exactly.
just to the point.
Yep.
Wow, Brennan. Wow.
Brandon, I just saved a screenshot from the other night.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should teach Andrew that one. I think he needs that one. The D&D thing, everybody. If you want to join us on D&D, please join us in the server.
Adorable.
And Brennan is actually the DM for a lot of that. He does a fantastic job with it. All right. I think we're good to go ahead and move along.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, yo is done. It's time for me. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
What would it sound like with Mercedes-Benz slowed down a little bit? I'm not saying go slow-mo, but I feel like obviously you were accentuating active blind spot assist, but I feel like Mercedes-Benz almost got swept a little too quickly, in my opinion, just a little bit.
Okay.
You know, you want to associate the two.
I'm so sorry, Kaylin. It was like you broke the pattern just on Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like the bulk of it could be a little faster. Just because the original direction says that they want it to sound difficult to say without losing the listener, and I just feel like that was too careful.
Okay.
Very suave. It sounded very stiletto, like black and white, rainy day.
Okay. Needs more gravitas, a little bit, maybe a little bit faster. Don't lose Mercedes-Benz. Okay. Anything else? All right, let's give it a go. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker biked with broken... The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Definitely slowed down the Mercedes-Benz, which I appreciate. I think that was good to have both the product and the company who makes it, more pronounced. This is nitpicky, but
Please.
that second sentence, as the big brown bearded biker's bike, I feel like you're really leaning on as the like that, like going into it's like a long jump with as. That part could, it's not super important, right? That just felt a little long, a little exaggerated to me.
Okay.
So tweaking that a little bit.
All right, I can put that in line. Anything else?
Would I be able to recommend, with it being active blind spot assist, on the first portion, the second sentence, putting an emphasis on blinked or braked?
Okay.
See how that sounds.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? All right. Let's... I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but Carissa requested more cowbell. All right, let's put this all together.
Always more.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
That was hard. I like that.
Hard? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good thing.
Well, I mean, there's no critiques coming in quite yet, so I'm assuming that we're safe to move along. All right, cool.
I have
Then let's
nothing
move it along.
specific to add. No.
Don't apologize if you don't. If there's something to add, please add it. If there's something to say, please say it.
I guess this is a continuation of the script, is to put emphasis on What it was before, like blinked and braked, what the focus of the whole narration should be.
Okay. Did I not do that?
No, you did that perfectly. That's what I'm
Okay.
that's what I'm praising.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Also, cowbell.
Yes, cowbell, indeed.
Where was that? I didn't hear that in the script.
Do we not have the sound effect yet?
Do we?
No, we have a bell, but we don't have cowbell.
Is the Undertaker coming out? What was that?
Yes, I've been getting back into wrestling recently, so love that.
Nice. We should get
it'll
together
happen.
sometime.
We'll get it there at some point. All right, let's go ahead and move it along to Cassidy. Whenever you're ready, go for it.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, opening it up. What did y'all think?
Nice job with cleanly getting through that script, right? Because I imagine when I start, it's going to be a big bumbling mess. But I feel like, Cassidy, I'd like to hear you take it like even more dramatic. Like for me personally, I think your voice could really set the tone for like the big brown bearded biker biked with going more of the harrowing route tale. Like I feel like your voice could definitely, like this just happened to me. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like it would fit really well. So I would be interested to see it done that way if you're comfortable doing so.
I was just gonna say, it sounded really good. The one nitpick I would have was it was a little bit fast. It sounded like there could have been a few more breaks in there, pun sort of intended. Where like to give emphasis to certain words, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying.
All right. Well, then, whenever you're ready, let's hear it from the top.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. What did y'all think of that?
I'm trying to find the cowbell. I can't find it.
Unfortunately, we don't have it up quite yet. But yeah, no, Cassidy, that was really, really solid. The only thing that I would say would really need a major change would be you moved really quickly from when the road gets hard to read to active blind spot assist. I think you could give that a little bit more of a break in between there, because again, you want people to realize that when the road gets hard to read is a callback to what you said before.
Okay.
So give that its space and then tagline, and I think it'll be perfect.
All right.
Quick question before you continue. In your theater of the mind, like what are you envisioning? You know what I mean? Like what did you kind of pick for your own visualization for it? Your motivation.
I never like being asked this question.
I'm sorry, and of course, like you're the first one I asked it to. Oh, my bad.
Well, if it's nothing, then it's nothing. That's the answer.
Well,
That's
it's just
perfectly fine.
now I feel like I have to have like something.
No. I didn't know if you'd picked, anything like that. I feel like one of the last times I read, Michael asked me that because I think my reads were completely different from one another, and same thing, my cheeks got red, I got a little sweaty, and I wanted to try to come up with something that I was envisioning, but I didn't. I thought I could read it well in a tone that I thought fit, and I didn't I didn't put anything behind it. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that works, but
Yeah.
I'm learning more and more that, if you build something behind it, you can commit to it a little bit more. So please skip over my question if it's going to derail you. I did not mean to do that, but just curious.
No, from the workouts that Cassidy's been joining, I've been noticing more and more that Cassidy really has um, a solid like a solid set of instincts when it comes to a particular tone for a script, and can deliver on that pretty well. I mean, as with everybody, there's always going to be a few tweaks here or there that need to be made. But Cassidy's one of the few people I've seen who can actually like really rely on um, those just kind of general instincts to dive into a script. Not a lot of people do. A lot of people try doing that, and unfortunately, it sounds reedy because they don't have that much, built out. Some people, though, works perfectly fine for them. So Cassidy, the only again the change that I would like to hear: keep the same tone, the same pace, everything you did before, but give a little bit more of a break between when the road gets hard to read and active blind spot assist.
Nice.
Whenever you're ready.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz.
Okay, opening it up. What do you all think of that one?
I think near the end of the rhyme or articulation, I guess we could call it. Like, I think it should be more, not as much of an upward inflection as it was. I think everything else was perfect except for that one little bit. So take that more as a nitpick from me, really. But I would like to hear it more without that upward inflection near the end. Like, just kind of keep it either the same or more like this could have happened. Like, oh my god.
I would agree in that in the last few sentences being having a calmness to it more than a chipperness.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, Cassidy, go for it.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes Benz.
Okay, I can hear it. It happened again. Yeah, but it did happen again. Not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. You upnoted bike. Um, that should be the end of the thought. Not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike.
Okay.
So just take the second sentence. I know it's technically the majority of the script, but just take the second sentence again.
As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike.
Okay. What did you guys think?
Yeah, that sounded like the end of a thought to me.
I want to say the downward inflection should maybe start a little earlier, rather than not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. The everything from big to bike, that is all describing one object. So if you want, the downward inflection could start right at big, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. That's all describing one object. I think that you can extend your downward inflection to fit all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do kind of a step down. Yeah, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. Da 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 da. Just step down the tone from there.
Okay.
Just give that last half. Not bumping into.
Not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike.
Yes, there you go. There
That
you
was
go.
great.
That was it. 100%.
Liked that a lot. Yeah.
100%. We just slap that in. You got a solid read going. All right. Good job, Cassidy. Let's go ahead and move it along. James, you're up.
The big brown bearded biker's bike. Whoop. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke in my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. Jeez. Tripping over my lip there.
You all right? You need to
Yeah.
drink another drink
Yeah.
before doing it again?
I'm good.
Okay, because
Well, as good as I can be for tonight.
it was pretty stumbly. It was
Yeah.
really stumbly. Definitely not where your skills normally are. Is the alliteration throwing you off?
Maybe my cold read was fine. I don't.
Yeah, I remember that.
was
You got
strange.
through the cold read pretty well, but this one was pretty stumbly.
Yeah.
Just take it from the top. Just go for it again.
All right. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. I'm doing it again. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, we'll go with that one. What did you all think of that?
Besides the stumbles.
Oh, don't you dare. That's a Dan rule violation.
Hey, that's not a critique. That's
a Dan
a fact.
rule violation.
That was not anything about my...
Hey, you've been here long enough, James. You have been here long enough. You leave the critique to everyone else.
So, same question. What obviously it's a serious delivery, but what sorry. What are you kind of envisioning whenever you
I'm thinking like I'm driving down the road and my family is asleep in the car, and like I just like yelled out because I almost hit this guy, and my wife wakes up and she's like, "What just happened?" So I'm like freaking out because I almost killed somebody.
Oh boy, yeah, right. That's pretty dire.
I picked up on dad vibes. I did not pick up on I almost killed my whole family vibes. So
Well, I usually keep it under wraps pretty well, even in high stress situations.
It comes out very measured, right? Because you're like, I'm doing everything
Right.
in my power not to absolutely freak out. Yeah.
My feeling, the vibe I got for it was like telling your kid about something that happened last week. Like you've had time to process it emotionally and you're just like, this thing happened, to like your adult kid you haven't seen in a long time or something. Like that
Okay.
was sort of where my brain went.
Okay.
Was very like retroactive.
I feel like I because of I guess the motivation and everything, I feel like there could be I know the alliteration's kind of a trip up, but I feel like
Yeah.
you could bring I don't know, there's I feel like there's some pauses in there somewhere or kind of like more of a breathy emotionality. These are very strange phrases that are coming out of my mouth right now, but like almost getting whispery, but not like whispery. Do you know what I mean? Like just the more grounded, serious, like
Be
Like stage
whispery, but
whispering?
not whispery.
Like stage whispering.
yeah, well, like if you're telling someone, it's like, not that this is in the script, but like, I almost died. Like you're telling them the story and then you bring it really low,
Yeah.
like to kind of punctuate the severity of the situation. That's where I'm trying to get at, or
Like you woke the wife up in the passenger seat, but the kids in the back seat are still asleep, and you're trying to like keep the frantic energy under control.
Okay,
Frantic
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Tell me that's not a violation of the.
Frantic what?
It's the phrase.
Frantic what?
What in that sentence? What would you replace
Frantic
energy
what?
with? What would you replace energy with in that sentence? I'm
Just
genuinely curious.
replace E with oomph is what
So
is what
replace
I've
it with an effort. Got it.
Yeah, on
Frantic
with some kind of
E.
oomph. Some kind of onomatopoeia, just some zing.
We're getting dad
Like,
oomph, but we need
frantic
driver
terror,
oomph.
frantic enthusiasm, frantic concern.
Frantic enthusiasm feels like an oxymoron. But yeah, no, I would say just like lean into that more. You know, you're trying not to wake up the kids, but you also are like you just went through something very stressful 10
I think
seconds ago.
urgent is the word Caitlin was looking for.
Thank you for all
Sorry.
of the breadth of vocabulary here. I love it.
You're in a room full of voice actors. It's gonna be there.
E.
James, do you have any additional questions? Do you have any clarifications that you might need, or do you think you have a good idea?
No, I think I got an idea.
Then go for it. Let's hear it.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
You want to take that again?
Yeah.
Go for it.
For some reason, I'm tripping on this thing now.
What's really funny is, like, I think the same thing happened to me during my cold read. I was able to get through the alliteration, but when the road gets hard to read, it suddenly trips you up because it's so normal.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. What did you guys think of that one? I'm wondering if you have the same feedback I do.
Can you say as the big brown bearded biker for me?
Probably not. As the big brown bearded I'm tripping on it. As the big brown bearded biker's bike. As the big brown bearded biker's bike.
Yeah, that R just kind of
yeah.
slips out of there somewhere. But again, just getting comfortability, and it's not
Yeah.
that this isn't tricky, But yeah, just in case you hadn't been aware, just making you aware of that one.
See, the thing is so my feedback for you is, I feel you got through it really, really well, just too fast.
Okay.
I think you blazed through it a little too quickly. And yeah, Frosty, that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
All right. Do it again.
All right.
You've got the
Slow.
delivery down. Just be more in control of it. Slow it down a bit.
Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
You see, you got it in ya. You got
Just
it
needed
in
to
ya.
slow down.
What did you guys think?
That R returned, which was excellent. Happy to hear it. My only
We
thing.
love the R's.
Yeah. My only thing is super nitpicky, and I think maybe even just personal preference, but the active blind spot assist, that was like an whoop, like an upward inflection. Again, not a bad thing, but for some reason in my brain, just because of the whole tone of it, like a down inflection. And I think you've even said it with a down inflection before. It's super nitpicky, but just I don't know if anyone else had the same thought or not, or if it made that much of an impact for any of you when you were listening.
I got caught on the period at the end at a little comma-like to me. The last
really? Okay.
two short sentences were a little close.
Between biker's bike and When the road gets hard to read?
The when the road gets hard to read into active blind
Gotcha.
spot assist.
Gotcha. So do you want to hear that again?
Absolutely.
All right. And I'll do a downward on the active blind spot assist. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Touch quick. Slow it down a bit.
Okay. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist. Oh. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Active blind spot assist.
Did I flub it?
Yeah. You
Really?
Again,
Okay.
your tone was fine. Sorry, I guess I should have been a lot more specific because you sped up active blind spot assist. You blazed right through that. Everything else was
Okay.
great. When the road gets hard to read, perfectly fine. The way you delivered it before, totally fine. No issues. But then you went active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
I'm going to try. Because
Yeah,
I've
break
got
it
that
up.
highlighted. My brain might be doing weird stuff.
Brains happen to do that.
Mine especially. All right. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Done. That's it. Cut it, print it, perfect. Woo! Fan flippin-tastic.
Flip it and ship it.
And now we
Thank you.
move it right along to Andrew.
We're gonna try, but we're having internet issues with this storm, so
I believe.
Okay.
Hey, if you gotta go, you gotta go. It's more important
Let's
that you
do
stay
this.
safe.
Oh no, it's not a dangerous storm.
Okay.
It's just internet doesn't like working during weather.
Gotcha.
All right. The big brown bearded biker backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's back with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right, opening it up. What did y'all think?
I feel like there are probably moments when good job getting through that, right? Love that. But I feel like there were parts where it slowed down a touch much just to ensure that you got through it right. And again, it's the comfortability with it that comes with each read. I also I really liked the way that you presented that last line. I however you started it off, it really set it off for me. So I'm complimenting you is what I'm trying to do for that last line. If that
Thank you.
wasn't clear, yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, a little bit more smoothness to that beginning part, not chopping it up too much. Obviously, you had to do what you had to do to get through it, but try making that a little bit more contiguous. Is that the right word? Now I'm just throwing words out. I'm gonna mute.
I guess slow continuity.
What do you mean by that?
Continuing the sentences without breaking.
All right. I will change up how I have that. All right. All right. Is there anything else?
Not this
Nope,
go
let's hear
round.
it again. Go for
All
it.
right. The big brown bearded biker backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's back with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
All right, what are you guys' thoughts on that one?
I think it was a very safe delivery, and that was a lot smoother, like not as staccato. Oh my gosh, just simple words, Caitlin.
Staccato, yeah, no, you know what?
Is that
Yeah, it's
okay?
fine.
Curious, since I've already asked everybody else, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it out there. What were you thinking of? What were you envisioning? What
Beat me to it.
direction are you going? Well, teacher's pet over here, just taking a note.
No, I'm good with that. Go for it.
I have a picture in my head, but quite honestly, it's mostly just me trying to get the words right. The picture in my head is that this is a person who this has recently happened to. Maybe it's just because it's Mercedes Benz, and I envision that to be like the affluent, some affluent person out at a ball, something that like a big event, like either a ball or like a gala, talking with the other friends and being like, if you want to be safe and protect your legacy, you need a Mercedes Benz.
Maybe are you saying that your character is making up this story as an example?
No,
Or
no, this has
this
just
happened?
recently happened to this person like a week ago.
Okay, so when I was listening to your delivery, I was not getting any emotion. There were no stakes behind the story. I don't feel like I didn't get the feeling that your character at any time feared for their life, the biker's life, their property. If they don't care about lives, at least they don't want to scratch their car. I didn't get that fear at all. And I think whether we're going with high energy or low energy delivery, there needs to be the fear so that we can feel the resolution in the safety.
All right.
And going off that fear, Andrew, the way you said you need this Mercedes, bringing that sort of tone to the whole paragraphs would work really well, I think.
All right. All right, we can do that.
Like, get your bunk Escalade out of here. You need a Mercedes Benz. Like,
All right. So add a little bit of stakes. All right, we can do that. Anything else?
Give it a go.
All right. The big brown bearded backer backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded backers backed with broken as the big brown bearded backer's back with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded backer's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
Okay. Definitely thrown off by the new directions, huh?
Well, like I said earlier, I was just focused on getting the words right.
I did feel that you tried to inject some of the fearful stakes into whenever you were talking about broke into my blind spot. Like I felt like a sense of panic there, like reliving it when you were telling somebody about it. You can obviously weave that a little bit more throughout it, but I saw that you were putting it forth there.
Yeah, you're definitely getting there. Is the script now more comfortable for you to get through? Are you feeling a little bit more confident with the alliteration with the story that you're telling?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd say so.
Take the headphones off. Do it again from the top.
All right. The big brown bearded backer backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded backer's back with broken brakes broke in my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded backer's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
What are you guys' thoughts on that one? Did taking the headphones off make a difference for him? Okay.
I think sorry, I was trying to figure
No,
out
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
thoughts. I do think it sounded a little less self-conscious.
Mhm.
Are you actively monitoring what's coming through your mic with the headphones on?
Mm-mm.
Really?
I don't know how to do that.
It
Let's
should be a little
figure that
button
out
on
at
your
some point.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So the thing is there's always something psychological that happens when you take your headphones off. Like you always get more focused, and it's just a different situation whether you're hearing yourself or not. Just pulling these off when you're acting, you just hear things differently, right? So, I personally feel that actually helped your read. I think this read was a lot more, yeah, the equivalent of the hat. Yep. um, Sorry, just getting rid of some. I think that this is this. It's just you. You just need to get through the words clearly. I really think that that's kind of like the last thing. If you could just get through that, you have a good emotional space right now, and I don't think that's really the problem. But I can tell that you're still struggling to get through specifically what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
So just give it one more try, and then we'll go ahead and move it along.
All right. The big brown bearded biker's backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's back with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
See, your on-screen and stage acting experience is coming through. You just pushed right through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Try it again.
Okay.
Try it again. You got this.
The big brown bearded biker backed with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's back with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's back. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
That was the read put together. That was
Thank
put
you.
together. See, you just faced a little bit of challenge and you got it. But no, yeah, you overcame it. That was fantastic. Let's go ahead and move it along. Tiger, you're up.
Oh, hello. All right. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. Oh, headphones. Oh no. We go.
Oh, okay. Got to get the headphones on.
Yes.
Are you there? Can you hear us?
I am here.
Okay, cool. 99% of the way there, active blind spot assist, you deliver that with an uptone, like you went up with it.
did.
Active blind spot
Yep.
assist by Mercedes-Benz. Keep it flat. Active blind spot assist, or step it down.
Anything else?
Yeah, I agree that more emphasis on not bumping into the bike. Like it's a bit of a turn there. You made that quick decision and avoided the collision, and that's like a turning point in the story of the script.
Gotcha. Sweet. All right. Taking the headphones out then. Or off.
Sounds good. Whenever you're ready.
Big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
Are the headphones in yet?
Headphones on back.
Okay. Fantastic. That was it. You
Woo!
took
Yeah, I
lots.
have
It
nothing.
seems like you took lots of notes. You practiced what you were going to do. It sounded like you had a clear vision of what was going on. Fantastic, Reed.
Oh, that tickles me pink. Shows my work outside of this has been helping me a lot. Thank you.
Sorry, Avalon. Did you have something you wanted to say? Okay. Yeah. It's real quick though. Did you have an image in mind? Were you working with like a specific scene?
Oh yeah, there's an intersection I hate, and there's a bike lane on an awkward spot, and so
Mhm.
I imagine trying to turn left, and a guy was coming right behind me that I didn't see. Had a warning, so I slammed on the brakes. He went by, and I was telling this to my in-laws, who have their youngest is just now starting to drive. So it was like hey, it helped me, and I'm a good driver. We need to get him this.
Yeah.
That's really
You see,
specific. I like it.
yeah, absolutely. And all of that clarity really served to build a strong read for you. Again, it was just a minor tweak that we had to give you. You nailed it. We're good. We're
Thank
good.
you.
All right, Avalon, you're up next.
Indeed, indeed. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
Okay, opening it up. What'd y'all think?
I
would say
love.
keep.
Oh, so go
You,
ahead.
you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I loved the ending. It had that like I felt that feeling of this just happened to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, like this really did something for me. So that was great that you really sold that feature there for me personally.
I really like the energy that you're giving. I think the stress
The
can also be
what?
conveyed more slowly. The E. The energy.
The what?
The energy. The
Yeah,
E.
the what? The what?
I'm having
We
such a
don't
good
use
time.
that word here.
Yeah.
We're in a vicious
Oh,
loop
whoops.
now.
One of the
Oh, I
okay,
didn't
so
know.
one of the rules is energy is not an acceptable bit of feedback because energy doesn't say anything specific. Energy is a blanket catch-all term that doesn't give somebody anything useful that they can really work with. Because energy can mean a number of things. It could mean being more frantic. It could be being more excited. It could mean just reading it faster. It's not specific enough to make usable feedback that we really, really want here. So
I see. That makes a lot of sense.
so the reason why I get on to people about that is because we want specifics. Like especially if you're really trying to work on your skills, you need to know specifically what it is you need to work on. Energy doesn't give you anything to work on.
Okay, then
So
let me rephrase with replacing energy with stress, anxiety, conveying it more slowly than what it was before.
The scene I had in my head for this was like a suburban PTA meeting sort of setup, telling the other parents at the PTA meeting about this scary event that almost happened, and I got saved by my cool car, and I think that like I'm like bragging about it. I have this awesome expensive car that has this awesome expensive feature, and it totally saved my life. It's clearly worth it. And I'm
Sounds
like
great.
just showing off to the other parents, but also trying to sound scared and like I was a victim of a thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that was sort of where I was aiming. But yeah.
Not to
think
dig.
You
Oh, go ahead.
definitely. Oh, I think 3 of us started up at the same time.
You
Absolutely.
go. Mine.
May I-
Mine is just an offshoot.
I just want to I think that you did a great job of that. I think you had a lot of like there's this maniac on the road mixed into that, which I think is perfect for the PTA meeting. What I want is dynamic contrast. I want for the stress that you're portraying to start a little bit lower so that it has a place to grow. Give give yourself room to build the passion, build the stress, whatever, because you're starting at like a 9, and I would rather it start at 6 and go up there, or give it room.
Give it space for a climax. I get you.
Exactly.
And then I think piggybacking off that, I think the other thing help it be a little bit more cohesive is after you describe the event, give it a pause and still have that seriousness, but be able to now brag about what your car did for you.
Yeah. When I was initially sort of planning slash practicing that, um, I would add like a whew before the road is hard to read thing. But I opted against that because I was thinking that with the sort of luxury, like angle improvisations and little bits like that wouldn't be welcome. Is that a fair
Fair
thing
enough.
to assume, or?
Mhm. So I think with the structure of the script and specifically how it's trying to tell its story, um, I don't believe that that would be the best choice for the script.
Alright.
If this was a little bit,
I
if this
agree.
was not using a particular, literary technique, if this wasn't using alliteration, then I think so. I think that would be fine. But
Okay.
otherwise, yeah, I don't think that, I don't think that this script allows for that.
Sure.
Personally.
So let me be a little more specific in that what I'm asking for is the feeling of a whew
Yeah.
break from the
that
story
that
before.
space, that turn. I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just hitting on a new emotion there.
Yeah.
So my digression from the actual topic at hand was all of these car scripts. I don't know if y'all watch Community, but it makes me think of the Honda representative or Subway, like that character. He
Subway
goes,
turned into Honda, yeah.
yes, there you go. So anyway, haha, that's my quip.
We don't talk about what happened in the back of that Honda.
Anyway, why don't you go ahead and give it to us one more time, Avalon?
All right. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
I'm very happy with that one. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
that was cool.
You gave
That
it
was
room and you
awesome.
utilized it well. And
We
you
all
didn't
started
have your
talking
headphones
before
on
you
for
even
any
had
of
your
this
headphones on.
criticism.
I did miss the beginning of everything everyone said.
Yeah.
I had my headphones off for the read,
Yeah.
so it took a second.
No, good on you. Good on you having the headphones off. I just started off by saying, yeah, that was definitely the read. Still a tad bit on the fast side, but you slowed it down just enough to where I don't think it was really that big of a problem, and it kept the feel of when the road gets hard to read. So I really liked it in general. I thought it was a very, very good delivery.
Yeah, I gave the suggestion of the pacing, and I think you knocked it out, especially at the end when you said the active blind spot. It conveyed the message really well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you took in all the feedback clearly and used it. Killed it. Thank you.
All right. Moving right along. Up next is Frosty.
I gotta hop out. Have a good night, y'all.
All right. Thanks for being here, Avalon. Take it easy.
All right. Why is my heart pounding now? I was fine until I opened it. Okay. The big brown bearded biker. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
You know, I don't know about all of you, but I know that the first part is only like 2 sentences, but it feels like it's so much longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you guys think of that read?
I felt like there was a. I'm glad I have my camera on, but there was a little bit of like this, like like eyebrows, like the big brown bearded, but like not sultry, if you will, but there was kind of this like, tone, and I don't know if it fit for me personally. So I don't know what you're envisioning, if you have a specific motivation or anything, but I guess that's my next question is, like, what is your visualization? What you thinking?
I'm almost like kind of literally picturing the commercial in my head. Kind of camera floating down into a car, and then it just skirts off of a bike real quick, and then I'm just kind of talking, narrating the story that just happened.
Should we add bodacious to the biker adjectives now?
I think it actually is coming across that you are watching an ad rather than experiencing it.
Yeah, there's no emotional connection here, and the way that I was interpreting your read was that, like, either you are very, very cool about things, which is a possibility, or you're very far removed from this event, which is also fine, as long as that's what your intention is. I think the idea that like Tiger just said, it definitely came across like you were describing a commercial, watching a commercial, maybe passing it along to someone else, just saying, this is what happens step by step, rather than this is something that happened to me.
Right.
I
Let me-
unmuted to say something, and now that sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Do you have something, Caitlin? Okay. Frosty, you want to try taking it again?
Sure. Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
So, still nervous?
Oh yeah, for some reason I can't stop shaking. I'm trying to like get it down. I don't know
I
what's
hear the-
happening to me.
I hear the sultriness in it now. I know what you're talking about.
Maybe you're just
still
naturally
trying to figure
sultry,
that out.
Frosty.
Maybe
So-
yeah, it's just naturally salty.
Yeah.
Sultry.
Frosty, do you have a character voice that you like using?
Mm-hmm.
Read it with that character. Just go crazy. Turn it up to 11. Be ridiculous with it. I'm serious. Like, just be absolutely ridiculous with the script. And whether or not you mess up, that doesn't matter. Just turn it up to 11. Have fun with it.
Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
I'm envisioning an elvish vampire right now, hopping in his whip. It's Mercedes-Benz.
Okay.
I love it.
Do you have another character?
Yeah.
Okay, read it with that one. Again, just choose a situation and just go all in with that. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, but let's hear that voice. Just go with it.
Okay, I think I have what I want to try. Okay. Oh, jeez! The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. Where the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right, how you feeling?
Still panicking. Just try to do voices.
Hey, you did fine. You did fine. You got through the alliteration. You got through the script. You're
Who
in
says
control now.
commercial work isn't character work? Really?
Exactly. I have yet for anybody to hand me a script that I can't find a character for. But and that is an open challenge, by the way.
Challenge accepted.
I look forward to it.
You don't know what he's done before.
We'll put it in the public. Yeah, put it in the public chat. And
I'm not gonna do it. I just wanted to say challenge
Come
accepted.
on. Come on.
I just wanted to say it.
All right, fine. All right, Frosty, you're totally in control. Like this is your moment. Take a deep breath. You're good, right? We're here to support you. You're among friends.
Frost.
And sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, you can finish your thought.
Okay. And look, you are actually really, really close. Especially with that second character, that first character read that you did. It was actually really smooth. It was not bad. You did a fine job. So, just if you need to, take a deep breath, take a moment to prepare yourself, and just go for it.
Okay. Am I just going for my regular read but try and read it better?
Yeah, I would say dig in
Okay.
deeper to the nervousness that you're feeling. Take it into your power. This is what it is. It's a stressful situation with the big brown bearded biker almost bumping into you.
Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
And that was a really solid read.
Thank you.
That was a very solid read.
Yeah.
What were you envisioning? What were you seeing?
I think I was kind of running through the same thing, but I think I was just picturing the biker himself a little bit more.
Okay.
Just kind of seeing more from like
you don't
just
have to. You don't have to make it up.
motorcycle.
Again,
Screw me.
if
I was
answer
just trying
to
to
the
like
question is
remember what I was thinking.
Okay.
But I think that was more what I was focusing on.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, if the answer to that question is nothing, then that's the answer to that question, right? It doesn't help anybody to make something up on the spot.
Yeah.
But I think in general, you had something solid going there. Like it was a solid read, and leaning into a little bit more of that nervousness actually helped us feel that stress in the situation. So I think overall, you gave us something awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely felt that is emotion not allowed? I
No,
forget.
emotion's fine.
Yeah, the emotion, it felt real to me in a sense where I felt you right next to me and having that sort of anxiety.
Thank
I
you,
shared-
because I'm genuinely panicking.
Well, you breathe. You're done. We're
We got
moving
through.
along.
We're good. Thank you.
We're good. All right.
Welcome to my TED
next,
Talk.
Eddie, go for it.
Oh, yeah. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, opening it up. What are your thoughts?
I really like the ending. Kind of like Avalon had said, I think they had brought up kind of like that uh, the oh my gosh, sigh of relief type of thing at the end. I liked it. I don't know how fitting it would be for Mercedes necessarily, but I did like that. I feel like the beginning of the read, you were trying to inject some anxiety there, but it kind of came across, what's the word I'm looking for? Not flat, but all the
Do you mind
same?
if I give an idea of of my thoughts on that?
Sure. Please elaborate.
Yeah, it almost felt like you were portraying anxious and stressed rather than experiencing something.
I can see that. Yeah, I was definitely trying something new on that, giving it an idea. I don't think it worked out too well, but I think I can get a different feel for it.
Hey, we're the
And
judges here.
That's your one of the Dan rule.
Huh?
For Eddie, so many rules.
Okay,
Michael's
so
laying
let
in
me-
wait for the rules.
Let me go.
Am I a dirty rule
I'm
breaker?
just waiting for this. Yes, you've broken 2 of the 3 of them so far. So it's okay though. I didn't go over them, so that's my fault. So I take responsibility for that. So let me elaborate. We have 3 main rules when it comes to the directed reads portion. They are named after previous or current attendees to the practice. They are the Dan rule, the Nephilim rule, and the Alex rule. So the Dan rule states that when you are up to perform, you are not allowed to critique your own performance. We want you focused solely on your performance. If you begin to focus on all of the things that you did wrong, you don't actually give yourself the tools to change them. All you do is point out what you did wrong. Because what we're trying to do here is not point out flaws as much as we are trying to direct towards the proper direction. Go towards that good read. I really can't English right now. Staying away from the negatives, trying to uplift the positives, right? So when you are up to perform, you do not critique your own performance. The Nephilim rule is you do not apologize for your performance either before, during, or after. No apologies. If you mess up, it's perfectly fine. It happens to everybody, even at the highest levels of voiceover. It's no big deal. And the Alex rule is energy is a bad word. We want specific, clear feedback, something that any actor could really work with. No, we want to avoid catch-all terms because it doesn't actually help build up a positive read. So when it comes to critique, leave that to us. We'll take care of that. We really want you focused on exactly where you should make the changes and apply what you're hearing, more so than, oh, I really messed up here or there. It happens really often that people get caught up on those points, and it's a repeating cycle. It's like, oh, I messed up there again. Dang it, I messed up there again. Crap, I messed up there again. You know, it's something that constantly pops up. So you're good. You're not in trouble or anything. Again, that's my fault. I didn't elaborate.
No, yeah, I'm really appreciating the information that you're giving. It's like an unintentional plot reveals for the ignorant me. It's funny.
But again, though, I said I was going to go over them and I never did. So, hey, we went over them now after you broke 2 of them, but that's fine. You're
Yay!
good.
And
You
I will
have
never apologize for it.
This is your free pass. All right, this is your free pass. Anyway, and now it's been revoked. So now that you know the rules, you're following them. Anyway,
Absolutely. Would it be all
other
right
than-
if I try something new?
please. But before you do that, does anybody have anything else they'd like to say about Eddie's read that isn't Eddie?
Yeah. I want to ask the Very common but exceptionally helpful question of what were you seeing?
For that take, I was thinking about definitely what Avalon was speaking with what is it called? A parent meeting in that sense, but grungy old dad being mad at bicyclists with broken brakes.
Honestly, if I'm being real here, whenever biker has been involved in the script, it was only a motorcyclist, never
I
a
was gonna
bicyclist.
say the same thing.
So,
It just
Everyone was thinking
whoa.
about a biker?
I was
everybody,
thinking of
yeah,
like vroom vroom, like Harley kind
motorized,
of thing. Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Generally, it's biker for motorcycle and cyclist for bicycle.
Oh.
Thank you. I feel
I'm
like you
with
came
Eddie.
to my defense.
I've been thinking bicycle this entire time.
It's purely
My brain
local,
just got
like,
wrinkled.
It's gonna change based on region, so don't worry about it.
Well, either way, it still works. So, whenever you're ready, let's hear the other thing that you wanted to try.
All right. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Eddie, I've got a quick couple of questions for you. How long have you been doing this for?
Not at all.
Okay, okay. Have you taken any classes or anything like that?
I've taken a couple of performance classes.
Okay, all right. But no actual like voiceover coaching specifically, anything like that?
Correct, I have not taken any.
Okay. Have you by chance like audition landed like any projects, whether they're free or anything like that?
Yeah, 2 over
Okay.
fashion shows.
Oh, fashion shows. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I noticed something, and this has been the same for your last several reads. You modulate your voice when you start reading. So what I mean by that is you have a particular tone that you speak in naturally, and then when you start reading the scripts, you immediately drop it. And it gets a little performative.
Yeah, I think I understand that.
And that's something we want to avoid entirely. It works in certain situations, but that's not applicable to all voiceover. Sometimes people will default into that. We had that a long time ago where we had somebody who could not, for the life of them, break out of that voice. I like to call it the VO voice because some people will do that. It happens. It's fine. But what I want you to try this time is if you can feel that, if you notice that, I want you to specifically avoid doing that. And I want you to read it again from the top, just specifically avoiding trying to modulate your voice in any way, shape, or form.
All right, I'll try that out.
Whenever you're ready.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
You see, that was much more realistic. That was much easier to listen to. I'm going to open it up. We're talking about voice tone for right now because that was the direction given. What did you all think of that?
That went. uh, How am I trying to say this? I liked the delivery. Like it definitely the tone. You set the tone well,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, it was believable, right? Like again, the tone was believable and it fit it very well. That wasn't really in depth, but I liked it.
Yeah. I I want you to make it a point to avoid using that modulation as much as possible. Unless you're specifically asked to do so, let's just keep that as a tool that you can pull out in other situations, right? So
Sure.
it should not be your default, but it should be something you can do if you need to. So
Yeah.
the next bit, the next thing to try with this next read, again, we're not worried. The tone, keep your tone where it is, again, unmodulated. The next one, slow your read down a little bit. Just see if you can actively keep the pace in control. That's what I want to hear for this one, whenever you're ready.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. Still a touch on the quick side, but much easier to follow along with. And again, really good on controlling your tone. Really good on controlling your tone. I would definitely. So, do you know if you want to do voiceover as a career, or is this going to be a hobby for you?
I'm trying to make it a career, though I do have a lot of learning to do.
We all do. Don't even worry about it. Like we all do. I would highly suggest if the career path is something you really really want to do in terms of voiceover, then as quickly as you can, start looking for one-on-one coaching, however possible. That's really going to help you get a lot of the basics down, because a one-on-one coach is there to work with you and your needs specifically. So, yeah, there's a lot of tweaks and changes and things like that that we could do to this read. There's a lot of really specifics that we might be able to modulate and change here or there when it comes to the delivery. But the thing is you gave us a slower, controlled, and unmodulated read that sounded much more natural. And that I think that's a pretty decent breakthrough for a practice for you, especially if if you haven't done much outside of or if you haven't gotten that much coaching in general. Like I think what you gave us is actually really really solid, and I think you've got a good solid base that you can work with there. Again, a one-on-one coach is really going to help out with developing that fully.
Put in my notes, put in my notes. But yeah, I appreciate your comments. I came here for those.
Well, you're going to get them as blunt and honest as possible, because in the future, when you've had a lot more, when you've had coaching and more experience under your belt, I'm not going to hold back. Just letting you know. Some people have been here for that. I've called people out on stuff, but um, does anybody else have anything they'd like to say about Eddie's reads or about what he was able to accomplish here?
I think they maybe a next step that could be taken, and I'm not sure if it would work for your version of the read, but when I'm reading this thing, it seems to be very clearly describing a really bad thing. And so you can choose to paint it by like make it feel like you're emotionally like scared about what's happening, or maybe mad that the biker is biking with broken brakes and making you having to brake. And it's like that could be something that can make you sound more connected with the scene. So that you're not just reading words, right? I think that's just something that could be considered.
Yeah, I was thinking about an angry approach. Yeah.
Oh, an angry approach. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't really get that too clearly out of the read.
I was doing that for the first bit, and then that was during the voice like call out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's change that. Don't go for angry. Go for relieved but frustrated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you just missed this terrible thing, but you're glad it didn't actually happen. Go ahead and give that a try whenever you're ready.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right. What did y'all think?
Yeah, like Barry said, it was subtle, but I felt it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Eddie, what were you feeling inside? I'm not asking you to critique your read. I'm asking you, like, literally, what were you feeling?
I was taking after what you were thinking, more so exasperation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah, again, it was subtle. There was a difference there. And again, like I said, it sounds like you've got a decent base that you're going to be working from. And I think you're going to be learning fairly quickly, especially if you get in with a one on one coach, for sure.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Well, let's go ahead and move it right along to Brett. You're looking a bit tired, so we'll get through you as quick as possible.
You're good. Good.
Whenever you're ready, man, from the top.
Okay. Well, Caroline, the craziest thing happened the other day. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, Active Blind Spot Assist by Mercedes-Benz.
A true character actor right there. What did you all think of that, Reed?
So loved the lead in. That was terrific. And I thought you were going to slip out of it a couple of times, but you kept it. So kudos.
Well, yes,
Um,
thank you.
of course. Uh, the I feel like if this is the direction you're going to go, that sentence, that part, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike, it was almost this, and this is just how I interpreted it. It was almost like disbelief, like like you there was disbelief that you didn't bump into, you know, that didn't happen. I feel like in this instance more of a triumphant smug, like those might be strong words, but like not bumping, kind of a triumphant, like, yes, like I got through that kind of thing, might have fit a little bit better for me personally. And I also loved the active, like, how you said active. I liked
Yeah.
that, with the character you were going with.
Caitlin, you were worried about strong words. I'm a visual thinker, so when he was speaking, I thought of a suave, pompous, rich European. It's like, oh, I missed it. But it doesn't feel like he would have cared.
Okay, I see that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked where you were going, but I think you put more emphasis on blinked and braked than you needed to, because that emphasis needs to go on not. Because if you're
Okay.
telling the story, it's like I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. Again, that's the climax of the story, is that nothing bad actually happened. So
Okay.
you missed that because your emphasis was too early.
I think my emphasis was I was more shocked that it broke. Like my car
Okay,
broke.
okay. Then
Like
then that's fine.
that's my envisionment of it.
Okay, okay. That's perfectly
Yeah.
fine. But again, not bumping
Okay.
into it. That was brushed aside.
Okay. I'll emphasize that.
Yeah. From the top, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Listen to me, Caroline. This happened to me the other day. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. as the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, opening it up. What did y'all think of that with the change?
I feel like it fit a little more suitably uh in this characterization of it. And again, just you weave this character throughout the whole thing, and you don't drop it. And so I just want to again kudos to you for that. You know, even at the end, I feel like this character I'm already I feel like I'm familiar with them now at this point, to where you land the lines how you need to be this person, right? So excellent consistency.
Thank you, my lady.
All right. Now, just to placate the commercial aspect of this, why don't you go ahead and give us a read without the character, but with a similar or the same story.
Like with the character, but without the voice?
Yeah.
Closer to your native.
Okay. Okay. All right. Same story? Okay. Michael, you would not believe what happened the other day. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big browned beard. As the big browned bearder had to change it on me. Michael, you wouldn't believe this. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, oh! If you didn't trip up at the end, you had some super solid reads. Super solid reads.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
You were-
solid.
Yeah, it was very, like, don't get me wrong, I still like what you did, and you still made it through really well. And yes, I did have to change it up on you, because come on,
Yep.
if you don't come to one of these and you're not challenged, did you really get anything out of it?
Yeah. Well, that
You're
was
right,
a
you're right.
challenge for me. I don't do I mean, I've been practicing my British accent, but so I wanted to flex
Yeah, but
it
the
out a
thing
little
is
bit.
you I mean, then I don't know, you came off a little bit too comfortable with it, so I had to put
Yep.
you in a
Yep.
less
I
comfortable
knew
position.
you were gonna do that too.
Yeah,
But
of
then,
course,
like,
of course.
uh,
To be fair, it's like that first one you did would probably be more. I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think it's good enough to come as like a native sort of UK ad sort of thing. It feels more like a thing you would run in the States or something like that. As
Yeah.
a weird, quirky. Like that's a good B take, I would say, for the thing.
mhm.
That would
But
be
the thing
a whole other sort of thing to try to intentionally make like a UK ad sort of thing. I think. But,
Right.
uh,
But the thing is your delivery on that was you came off really comfortable. No, the accent wasn't super consistent throughout the entire thing, but unless somebody was really closely paying attention, I don't think they would have noticed it. But I again, I really like the challenge of putting you through a more Brett style read.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that threw you off just fine, from in my opinion, at least.
My tongue twister was used to the accent. My
Yeah.
tongue was used to the accent.
right.
My tongue wasn't used to
Right.
my voice.
Yeah, right. You were so
Well, see,
practiced in your.
I went native.
You got through it,
It
and it
went
sounded
native.
fine. It truly did. It sounded good, And I think I mean the British accent you could have done as a B take for something fun. Actually
Hmm.
no, you know what? A take. Really throw them off. Like they come across like, whoa, what in the world?
I think the the Caroline thing somehow that like helped you get into character. Whatever
Yeah.
whatever you were picturing,
Caroline,
it worked.
darling, you'd never believe what we
Tea at
ran
high
into.
noon.
Yeah, you were at the tea room dishing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, right, right.
I just want to say, like, the storytelling of the first paragraph really, really sold it. I enjoy that. I do agree with Michael that you tripped a bit for the last one. So if I can have a request, can I get like an ABC tick for at least the last one? Because your first one, I wouldn't touch that no more. That was perfect. So I would just like, if I was your engineer, if I was your producer, I'd say, give me three good ones of just the second paragraph, so we have a good hit to your first to your storytelling.
Okay.
So just when the road gets hard to read.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
All right, ABC of that. Whenever you're ready.
When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
B and C take. That was it.
I was about to say I liked number B.
Yeah, number B.
Number B.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
number
also
B.
like
I
number
like
B.
number B. I like
Number
number
B
B.
for sure.
Number B. Number B. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, no, B was definitely it. C was close, a little too quick. It was a little too quick of a transition. B was perfect. Yep.
Bumblebee tuna?
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna?
All right, moving right along. Congrats, Brett. You did a fantastic job. It is now Caitlin's turn. Whenever you're ready, go for it.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
And what are your thoughts?
Good cold read. Do it again.
What? We already had cold reads.
Oh, okay.
I liked it. It sounded like you were telling a scary story to some kids. So I liked that particular take on it.
I agree with
If
Brett.
that's what you were going for, because I was like, oh, I'm scared. Like, I don't want. What's this big brown?
Gently haunting.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've seen ads like that where it was like one of those click it or ticket ad sort of thing where it's
Sure.
like everything is normal and then suddenly it's like, and then you died.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Oh, what is it? The Croods, where like every story ends with, and then they died.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Yeah, the Croods. That's great.
So then, Caitlin, challenge here. What were you imagining? What were you seeing?
So to preface this, I went through many iterations in my head. I was trying to think of that right during some other people's reads and everything, but I kind of took a note from who was it? Was it Sonic? I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about this intersection that they hate. Right? It was a very personal experience.
Tiger.
I was there. You go. I was. Basically, I was putting myself. I got into an accident as well, right? And it wasn't like anything major, but it mirrored something like this blind spot, right? And I was really not necessarily envisioning a particular scene, vehicular scene. I was envisioning me after that happened. I was very shaken up. I'm a very emotional person at the height of things like this. And so I was kind of envisioning myself retelling the situation after the initial shock of it all, happened. And I was kind of like emotionally depleted. Like, your nervous system is like high alert, and then you come down and you're kind of just like exhausted, and it was kind of still a scary situation. So I guess kind of bringing it back, it's me after this happened, but a few hours removed, telling my husband or roommate, whomever was around at the time, about what happened and how it was scary, because I haven't been in a lot of accidents myself, so it sucked. That's where I was going with it. My post-emotional exhaustion.
Okay. Post-emotional exhaustion is not engaged enough.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. But I'd like to hear you a little bit more. I'd like to hear this as though you are like on the phone with your husband just after this happened.
Okay.
Let's just see what that does to your read.
Okay.
Dramatic read.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
But don't swear.
Oh yeah, there'd definitely be some swearsies up in there. Okay. Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz.
One minor change. Give yourself more of a break between when the road gets hard to read. Active blind spot assist. When the road gets hard to read is a sentence. It is its own sentence. It's not a comma. It doesn't immediately attach to the one after it. It is its own sentence. So if you need to give yourself a lead in, go for it. But give me more of a break between that. Let me hear that it is a sentence and that you have intention for saying it.
Okay.
I think I might spoil one of the things I was holding on to, but one thing that could be kind of cool to try is right after you finish the biker's bike, take like a deliberate sigh. So it's just you just like sigh of relief, and then you go into the. That could be like kind of cool. I think that's what I was gonna try.
Like, I think Avalon and someone else, maybe it was even Eddie. Eddie actually did it. Avalon talked about it. I think it's a great piece as well. I just with it being Mercedes, I don't know, and maybe I'm getting too stuck in that, right? But with it
Right.
being Mercedes,
It
that
might
might
not
be a
be
little
so
too
dramatic.
candid. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
little, something not as polished. But I can still try it if y'all are interested. And
And this
Michael, oh, go ahead.
the sigh is there for spacing. Like it can be a part of your character, but it's something that you can edit out.
Okay, you know what? Good point. Very good point. I just using it as a tool. I completely, I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. You want me to do the whole thing over again, right? And then go into that, or just that last part? I don't know what was
Get the whole
requested
thing.
exactly. Run it again.
Yeah.
The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes Benz. Did that accomplish it?
I think that's one of the
Uh,
most sincere reads that I've heard.
Yeah. I feel like when you take the breath, it like it it makes it sound so like earnest. Like, hey, I don't know. It's good.
I'm good at the deep sighs. What could I say? It's a constant.
Yeah, dude. It feels
So
hashtag relatable.
to double in what everyone says, that little sigh gave your read so much character. And personally, I enjoyed the storytelling. And then that sigh and your lead into when the road gets hard to read helps sell that in my ears. It helps sell that. Second one. So yeah, good job.
Cool. Thank you. It's a valuable tool and a good note, for other places to implement that. So I appreciate that. I feel like sometimes I get never mind. Thank you.
No. You're allowed to.
You're
You're allowed to talk
good.
about other. Yeah, he's gonna Dan rule from the past. we
Ah.
we are
You
the
caught
arbiter
yourself.
of
That was
Michael's
good.
ready
present
for it.
and
Michael's ready for
future.
it. Look at him.
Yeah, look at Michael's
Look
face.
at him. He's
I'm just
ready.
waiting.
Oh,
I'm
he
just
won.
waiting.
Look at him.
He's like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly. He's a disappointed dad right now. Look at him. Look at him.
Oh
Papa
boy.
Mike's listening.
Oh
I mean,
man.
I've been here
Yeah,
the
he's
whole
loosening the belt. That's what he's doing. All right.
Oh no.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
All right.
The reason why that's a rule is multifaceted. Okay, it's because first of all, we have this really terrible habit of talking ourselves out of good reads, and we shouldn't do that because I have heard way too many people start off incredibly strong and then think they messed up and stop when they were in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because there is a, for some people it may be minor, for some people it may be major, I don't know, but there's always a notable effect on one's mental state when the first thing that they do after delivering a script is immediately critique themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You are immediately becoming your own worst enemy, and you do not need to do that. If you're not the one who is doing the casting, and if you're not going to be the session director, there's no reason for you to be so hard on yourself about your deliveries. You give them what you can. Always look to deliver excellence. And finally, it's a constant stumbling block because you will say that you messed up on this one spot, and I've already mentioned this. You'll say you messed up on that one spot, and suddenly you have in your brain marked that particular section of the script as the problem. And you will always be stumbling over the problem because you pointed out the problem. When in reality, what we want you to focus on is the solution. Where should the emphases be? Where should the changes really be? Sure, yes, if you mess up on one spot, how do we overcome that? I want you guys to be able to shift your mindset as well. And I realize that when you're on your own, doing your own auditions and things like that, you are going to have to direct yourself. So, how do I reconcile the two of them? Well, when you are when you are doing your own auditions and when you are self-directing, you always need to treat the recordings that you have as a performer, like you do here. Listen to your performance as though it was a different person, somebody else entirely. Did they hit the mark? Did they do what they were going to do? How do you even figure out what the mark is? You do your script analysis. You ask yourself the basic acting questions. Who am I? What is the script trying to say? Who am I talking to? Right? If you can figure those out, that is the goal you're trying to hit. And then the loop is you go in, you focus on your performance, you do your performance, and then you take that performer hat off.
Yeah.
Right? And now you are in practice mode with another person. Did they hit what we talked about? So because I hope you've seen here, whenever you give feedback, whenever any of us gives feedback, yes, sometimes specific things that are wrong are pointed out, but more importantly, the changes that need to be made always come up. That's the most important part for you guys. And that's what I want you guys to focus on, particularly when critiquing yourselves, your own recordings. Because they are a performance, and you need to find ways to improve that performance, not critique the performer.
Yeah, I do think though, in Caitlin's defense, I think what I was saying here was more she noted a problem that's similar to a problem that she had in the past, and she's leading into it not to beat herself up that she always has this problem, but she's reflecting on how she now found a potential solution to it, and it's more like turning a bad thing into a good thing. I that's how I was seeing it. Of like, it's like, yeah, Caitlin, hell yeah, you get it, yeah. No, I mean, like I think that's a good thing because now you're gonna associate. Next time she's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that thing and not hold myself back. Yeah, learning
No,
lesson.
and I get that, but I also sometimes I realize that I don't always explain the reasonings for things. And I think that's really important to understand, particularly if you're doing something, right? I think if you're coming to this practice, if you're spending your time here, you should know why certain things happen. And those rules are super important for a variety of different reasons. I just don't always get into them because it's kind of a diatribe like this. But just know there are good reasons for all of the rules that we have here. And I'm trying to look out for you guys as best I can. Anyway, let's go ahead and move this along because Caitlin, I think you gave us some fantastic reads there. I really liked the last one and your emotional engagement on that last read. And I'm good with moving along.
Much preach.
All right. Justin, you are up.
Oh, okay. Let's see. If I remember how to do this. Oh, that was supposed to be a dramatic clearing of the throat. I should have actually muted the mic. Darn it. Okay. The big brown bearded biker biked with broken brakes. As the big brown bearded biker's bike with broken brakes broke into my blind spot, I blinked and braked, not bumping into the big brown bearded biker's bike. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
All right. The first paragraph, the first two sentences, fantastic. I've got zero issues with the alliteration and with the emotion that you chose with the alliteration. My issues with your tagline.
Okay.
Because you treated the period as a comma. It's not a comma.
Okay.
It's a separate idea. When the road gets hard to read, make sure that it is clearly communicated that it's an idea. So give me an ABC take of the last two sentences.
When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
3 is closer. Just I
The
would
last
change
one.
the emphasis. The emphasis was still a little bit weird. I don't think you want to go when the road gets hard to read. I just think that the reason why we like it is because you ended on a decisive down note. Every
Yeah.
time you end it in a mid to high note, then it sounds like you're trying to link the two ideas together. But it's supposed to be like prompt and then answer, right? It's just very much so like it's almost like you're playing like Jeopardy, right? It's like when the road gets hard to read, what is active blind spot assist, right? It's
Well,
like,
no. I don't think it's just that, actually. I disagree with the assessment that is just because he ended off on a down note. It's actually, I liked the emphasis on hard. I think hard to read should have all been emphasized. But the emphasis on hard goes back, is again, the callback to the alliteration you just spoke in. So again, most people get lost in all of the B's in the whole alliteration. And yeah, it's kind of hard to follow when the road gets hard to read. Cool, fine. But emphasize hard to read altogether.
I like
When
that.
the road gets hard to read. So that should be the emphasis. And then active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz. Let's hear that. Hard to read.
When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, you've got it. Now end it off in a down note. When the road gets hard to read. So finish it off. It is its own thought.
The first sentence on the last paragraph?
Correct.
Okay. When the road gets hard to... Oh, I see. Okay. When the road gets hard to read, active blind spot assist by Mercedes-Benz.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. 100%. Yeah, I think that was exactly where you needed to be with that read.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think, again, generally, you did a fantastic job there. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up. I need to step away for just a quick second.
I have to hop out, but thank you guys.
Thanks for being here, man. Take it easy. But again,
Yeah,
we have
you
a
too.
couple people who still need to read, so we are going to be working with them after the stream. If you guys can stick around, that'd be fantastic. If not, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us in 2024. Also, thank you to our supporters over on Coffee. We've got some cool stuff in the works for you guys. We'll keep you updated as things continue to develop. But if you want, all the stuff is down below. You guys know what you're doing. So we'll see you next time.
Farewell, Eddie and Frosty.